one more game. Grossi Posse Packer Nation. Welcome to an episode of Packcast, the podcast where you don't have to be Packers fan, but it sure does help. I'm your host, Tom, Millie Grossi, and today we are going to be predicting the final game of the 2025-2026 NFL season. That's right, there is only one game remaining, Super Bowl 60, because we don't count the Pro Bowl for many reasons. Last week, I actually didn't go 500. I went 2-0, getting both the AFC and NFC championship game correct. And now, heading into this final game, I'm not going to lie. I think that this is going to be an excellent football game. I think that this is going to be a great Super Bowl. I know it's a Super Bowl 49 rematch, which, again, is a little bit weird that when I started this channel 11 years ago, this was the matchup, and now here we are again after hitting 1 million subscribers, because, again, I have main character syndrome, and so everything has to relate back to me, because otherwise, what's the point?
This whole thing, all of this, it's all about me.
But I do think this is going to be a great game because while both teams are good, their pathway to the Super Bowl has been very different. When you look at the Seattle Seahawks, one, they only played in 2 games, and 2, they went up against high-powered offenses. Whether you're talking about the 49ers, and they were top 10 both in scoring and passing, or you're talking about the Rams, who were the number 1 scoring offense coming into the playoffs and number 1 in passing offense. But then you take a look at the New England Patriots, and they have run through the gauntlet of defenses. They've gone against the Chargers defense, which was really good this season. They went up against the Texans defense, which was incredible this year. And they were just able to knock off the Denver Broncos in a snowy game. And while it was a very ugly game, they also have a very good defense. So it really has just been the Seahawks going up against top 10 offenses and the Patriots going up against top 10 defenses, which is why I think this matchup is really intriguing. But let's start with the Patriots in that AFC Championship game, because that game kind of went as expected. It was a defensive slog. It was a 10-7 final score, and I know Broncos fans are probably feeling some type of way that they were so close in that game, even without Bo Nix.
This should be me.
But it just came down to 2 really good defenses. Of course, without having Bo Nix, that really limited what the Broncos could do. And even though they were running the ball pretty effectively, and Jarrett Stidham had that really good throw in the first half that set up their only touchdown, they just could not do anything in the second half. And for that, you could attribute the weather, but you also have to give a lot of credit to that Patriots defense. And we'll talk about them in a moment because they have been phenomenal, not only on Sunday, but throughout these entire playoffs. And again, while you would have liked to see a little bit more from Drake Maye and that Patriots offense, they were still able to get the job done in a gritty game on the road. And so I think they deserve a ton of credit. But I do want to talk about the Patriots as a whole because they have been on a really impressive run. When you take a look at their offense, heading into the playoffs, they were top 10 in every single category that mattered. They were 4th in passing yards, 6th in rushing yards, and 2nd in points per game scored. So yeah, their offense was pretty damn impressive. But what was the criticism that they were getting all season? Oh, they had a soft schedule. They weren't going against some great teams. And even going into the Super Bowl, they're still getting that criticism because now, oh, well, they're not going up against really good offenses. However, they went up against really elite defenses. And at the same time, the Patriots, they have a really damn good defense in these playoffs. Taking a look out of the 3 games that they have played, they have allowed 415 passing yards total. They've only allowed 214 rushing yards total. That makes them 3rd amongst all eligible teams in the playoffs. And that's teams that have just played 1 freaking game. And most impressive, they have allowed 8.7 points per game, which ranks them number 1 amongst all playoff teams. That's right. Teams that have played just 1 game or 2 games, the Patriots who have played 3 have held their opponents to under 10 points per game on average. So, yeah, That's really damn impressive. On top of that, they have a +3 turnover differential. Taking a look at their offense, they have 443 passing yards, 312 rushing yards, which ranks first amongst all playoff teams. But then again, they have played 3 games. But the downside is that they've only scored 18 points per game on average. And again, spread across 3 games, that's not really what you would like to see. They're ranked 4th to last out of all these eligible playoff teams.
It should have been me.
And again, they have played 3 games against 3 really damn good defenses. But if the Patriots are going to win the Super Bowl, I think they're going to have to put up some more points against a very good Seattle team. And heading into this Super Bowl 49 rematch, obviously these are completely different squads. The last time that this happened, you had Tom Brady versus Russell Wilson. But I'm sure that Patriots fans are hoping that this game goes like their last Super Bowl matchup.
Your heat has made you powerful. Now, fulfill your destiny.
And so now let's talk about the Seattle Seahawks. The Seahawks were involved in a very good primetime game in the NFC Championship game, able to defeat their second divisional opponent in a row. They're third in just under 4 weeks. And listen, I got to talk about the Seahawks for a second, because heading into these playoffs, of course, they had the really good offense, especially in the run game. They got much better. They finished 11th in rushing yards. And really, since week 16, they've been able to get over 100 rushing yards per game. And even without Zach Charbonnet this past Sunday, they were still able to run the ball pretty effectively, especially in the first half with Kenneth Walker, who had just a single touchdown. But he had 3 touchdowns the game before against a much worse defense with the San Francisco 49ers. But I got to give the Seahawks a lot of credit, because Sam Darnold was getting a ton of crap going into these playoffs, and really, he has had a sensational run. He hasn't thrown a single interception, he's had some big-time throws, and he had one of the games of his life against that Rams defense this past Sunday. And taking a look at the Seahawks offense during these playoffs, I know that they've only played 2 games, so it's not a complete comparison to what the Patriots have done, because they played 3 games, but they have 427 passing yards, which is only 20 less than the Patriots have over 3 games. Seattle is able to do it in 2. They have 250 rushing yards, and they're scoring 36 points per game, which is ranked first, and they've only played 2 matchups in this postseason. Taking a look at their defense, they've allowed 493 passing yards, which is third to last, again, stretched over just 2 games. That's not the best. They've allowed 222 rushing yards when compared to the Patriots run defense, who allowed 214 over 3 games. Yeah, that's really damn impressive for the Pats once again. And points allowed per game, they're ranking 3rd amongst all playoff teams, averaging 16.5 points per game allowed. So, what does this all mean?
What's it all mean?
One, we know that the Seattle Seahawks are a very balanced team, and while this is not a direct one-to-one comparison, you gotta be feeling pretty damn good about the Seahawks. The other thing that's pushing them over the top, of course, is their special teams. Not only did they have that muff punt that went in their favor against the Rams, but every single time that an opposing team is kicking off, you have to worry about Shaheed. They've only allowed him to return 3 kickoffs in these playoffs, and they are averaging 49 yards per kickoff return. Of course, Shaheed was able to take it to the house against the 49ers in that opening kickoff with that 95-yard return. And since then, they haven't been kicking to him a whole lot, which makes sense. But that is something that the Patriots are going to have to watch out for, because damn, do they have a balanced squad, and is that special teams one of the best in the NFL? And again, when you're making this comparison, while the Patriots have gone up against these really good defensive teams and were able to squeak out these wins, the Seahawks, they've been going up against these offensive juggernauts. The 49ers, they are definitely nothing to shrug at when it comes to their offense. As I mentioned, they were top 10 in passing and also in scoring. And now, 49ers fans might have to watch the Seahawks win a Super Bowl in their stadium. Yeah, that's tough. But again, the Seahawks defense was able to limit them. They didn't even allow the 49ers to score a single touchdown the second time in just a few weeks, because they were able to do the same back in week 18. And again, the Rams had the #1 scoring and #1 passing offense heading into these playoffs. But as we saw during the regular season, the Seahawks have the #1 defense in terms of points allowed. So yeah, you saw that this past Sunday, even though they did allow some points to be scored, especially in that third quarter. And Tariq Woolen got that taunting call, which then he got a touchdown scored on him, which was not so great, but the Seahawks never really let that game get away from them. And now the Rams are eliminated, and I'm sure Bears fans were probably happy to see the Seahawks beat the Rams and send McVay home.
Bye-bye, bitch.
And so now taking a look at this Super Bowl 60 matchup when these two teams are going to play against one another, there's a few things that stand out. When it comes to turnover differential, right now the Patriots in these playoffs are +3. The Seahawks are +4. We've seen both of them be able to force some turnovers. The thing I really like about the Patriots is, one, not only are they able to get these gritty wins, but they've gone against these really good defenses, so they're going to be prepared for Seattle. But the other thing that's been standing out for me is Drake Maye. He has been running the ball really effectively by himself. And while Stevenson Robinson and Henderson, I like both of them, and they've been able to have at least some moments during this postseason. Drake Maye has had some big-time runs, whether it's been against the Chargers or even in the AFC Championship game against the Broncos. He called game at the very end and was able to scramble and get that first down. So Drake Maye is a pretty mobile quarterback, and he's going to be able to move the ball, especially when there's a lot of pressure coming at him. And that is the other big difference between these two teams. When you take a look at Sam Darnold, he has only been sacked 5 times in the last 2 games. When you look at Drake Maye, he's been sacked 5 times each playoff game. He's been sacked 15 times over the span of these last 3 matchups, and that is a bit concerning.
That should have been me.
And so when you're looking at which team has a competitive advantage, I do look at that Seahawks pass rush, which is definitely nothing to shrug at. If they're able to get after Drake Maye like these other teams have, yeah, it could be a long day for the Patriots. But at the same time, the Patriots pass rush, they have been really impressive. They've been able to get after the quarterback, and they were going up against one of the best offensive lines in the league with the Denver Broncos, but they were able to constantly force Jarrett Stidham out of the pocket, make some bad throws. He had that fumble, which set up their only touchdown of the day. And so that Seattle offensive line, which is much improved, they are going to have their work cut out for them. And so, like I said, I do think this is going to be a competitive game. I know there's some folks that think the Patriots are going to lose by a big margin. I am not one of those people, because I think their defense is really damn impressive. And I think the way that the Patriots could win this football game is if they force it to be all about Sam Darnold. If they're able to stop the run, which they've been able to do throughout this postseason, I think they have a good shot of being able to sneak away with the win. I think they're able to force this to be a low-scoring game and are able to neutralize guys like JSN or Kenneth Walker. They got a shot here.
And it should be me.
But at the same time, the thing that concerns me about the Patriots is that even though they've gone up against these really good defenses, it's not going to get easier going up against the Seattle Seahawks. Again, they had the #1 defense in terms of points allowed heading into the postseason. And while Drake Maye does have experience going up against these really good defenses in the postseason, which is really damn impressive, especially because he's so young, he's not going to have an easier time going up against a really good Seahawks defense. Throw on top of that Drake Maye has had some turnovers in this postseason, and that gives me some concern. And considering he's been sacked 15 times, yeah, that could be a huge difference maker here. So because of that, while I do think it's going to be a close game, I gotta go with the Seattle Seahawks here. The reason being, I just think they're the more balanced football team. Their defense and their offense is playing very complementary, and on top of that, you have that wild card being their special teams unit, which is one of the best in the NFL. And yeah, I imagine the Patriots are gonna be trying to kick a lot of touchbacks, but then hell, they're gonna be starting on their own 35-yard line. And while I feel like a lot of sports media is focusing on the Seahawks defense, and rightfully so, they are very good, this Patriots defense has been superb. I know they've been going against lesser offenses, and hell, even in that Broncos game, beating a backup quarterback, but at the same time, they deserve a lot of credit for what they've been able to do over this stretch of 3 games. But then you take a look at the Seattle Seahawks, they, for the most part, have been able to neutralize these really damn good offenses, whether it's the 49ers and not allowing a touchdown, or just causing enough problems for the Rams, or forcing some turnovers that allowed them to get the win. So here, I'm going to go with the Seahawks to be your Super Bowl 60 champions. They truly have the power of the Pope on their side. Sorry, Bears fans. And just some advice. If you get down to the 1-yard line, just run the ball. But let me know what you think down in the comments below. How do you think Super Bowl 60 is going to shake out? I just want to take a quick moment and thank you all so much. We hit 1 million subscribers a couple days ago on Tuesday, and after 11 frackin' years, it was pretty awesome to see. I appreciate all the outpouring of love and support. Yeah, man, this was it was very cool to see this goal finally achieved. And now we just got one more game, and then we'll raise $1 million for charity afterwards. But I appreciate y'all. But of course, let me know what you think down in the comments below. You know, find me at TomGrossiComedy.com, and a big shout and thank you to all the Patreon and YouTube members for supporting this channel. And thank you so much for watching. I'm Tom Grossi, and as always, go Pack Go.